Hello, this is producer Callum. Thank you for downloading the latest episode of Bobble Pod. This episode was recorded before the news of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II sadly passing away on Thursday the 8th of September 2022. Everyone from Bobble Digital, Bobble Pod and Callum Ronan Creative would like to send our deepest condolences to the royal family.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Bobble Pod. In episode 15, which is what we're on season 3, we're going to be talking about business marketing if you're a startup company. But before we begin, as always, thank you for liking and subscribing. If you're listening for the first time, don't forget to like, follow and subscribe to our podcast streaming platforms. But also if you're on YouTube, hello YouTube, as always. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click on the bell notification to get updated when episodes come out, which is every Tuesday morning. So I got a question that had come in. And this is why I asked for you to give feedback and questions, because sometimes you get some really, really nice golden nuggets like this one, which was, for a new business starting up, what aspects of marketing should you prioritize? I think that's a very, very good question. And as a result of that question, I decided to tailor a podcast episode about it, which is why we're going to be talking about business startup marketing in this episode. So a very, very good question, but there's a lot of things you need to consider when you're starting up as a business. Someone who's been through it, Bobble Digital's 5 years old. A lot of clients that come up to us that are in the initial first, stages of a business. The biggest element I feel like they should prioritize, which is what is always needed at our stage. So if you think media is the element that's going to drive quality traffic, get you those sales, revenue, inquiries, leads, etc., which is what we specialize in as an agency, there's an element that comes before that. So the question that came in for a business startup that's starting up, what aspects of marketing you should prioritize, is, well, the first thing you need to look at is marketing strategy. Sounds simple, sounds basic, but a lot of people struggle with this. You need your business strategy as a business. What are your aims and objectives? What do you hope to achieve over the next 6, 12, 2 years, 5 years? What is your forecast? What are your plans? But more importantly, you need a marketing strategy that's going to help you achieve those objectives, which is going to hit the overall aim of the business. And these are the things you need to, and I'm going to list them and I'm going into a bit more detail, are the following elements you need to look at. Element 1, your marketing sector. Business sector and the sector in which you're going to be doing marketing in. With this, you need to start looking at, well, what competitors do I have in this industry? Identify the key competitors, search for your services that you offer as a business, see who comes up on the first page of Google, see who's running ads, have a look at, which businesses and social media providing those services. Have a look at who are your competitors in the local or national, whatever region is you're going to be trading in. You need to be looking at their website, their content, more importantly, their USPs. You need to be looking at the kind of content and brand messaging they're pushing out there, what's different, how active are they, what are they doing, what they're not doing. You need to be looking at the different products and services that they offer, because all this is going to help you understand basically how you going to differentiate yourself. Where does your product sit in a competitor positioning map? If you think 4 lines, price, cost, brand, awareness, whatever metrics you want to use, where do you sit in that cross square? Are you a high price product, high quality product? Are you low priced? What's the key element for you? Where do you sit on that positioning map? What share of voice do your competitors have? We talked about this in a previous episode from an SEO perspective. Think of an example of a client, solicitor client had grown in 3 months by 1%, still growth in a quarter. Where do you sit? Who has the biggest share of voice? Who has the lowest? Which competitors can you compete with quickly? Which competitors can take you a longer term view to compete against? And basically, who offer similar or very like-for-like products and services out there that you do. The second element of that is your audience. Who are they? To quote Star Wars, who are you? Basically, who are your audience? It's not easy because once you start training, you've got tools like Google Analytics that give you an idea of who your customers are, demographics, location, etc., and elements like that. But you should have an idea in terms of who your service and product is aimed at. So if you ask me, who is our audience, we focus it on the operations directors, the marketing directors, the head of marketing managers, a head of marketing elements within certain firms. That's it. They're the job titles and people we're after. And people that work within companies of a certain size with a certain level of revenue within the digital tech sector or e-commerce sector. And we split it out by sector, decision-making power. Do they have that? Are we talking to the person who is going to help make that decision that's my way of the marketing agency that they should be using, etc. So know who your audience is. Who are they? Profile not just 1, 2 or 3 different customer segments. You do that, you get a better understanding of who your ideal customers are, because then it's about your services and your products. What's unique about it? What's unique about your product? Why should they buy from you? Now, I know why a client should buy from me because we're an agile digital marketing agency. We have our own methodology. It's all on our website. And when we provide a free digital audit and strategy, the depth and detail we go into clearly outlines industry analysis, audience analysis, market strategy and plan, and tactics to take that brand forward. The question is, do they want to try to do it themselves, or do they want to do it with the company that has actually laid out the detailed plan and done the research that needs to do it? Because no one else can do it the way we think and we've positioned it. So that's why I know clients buy from us. And the feedback I always get is, compared to other agencies, I'll just go out there and give their prices and do a top line review. We go into so much detail that it's hard to say no. That's the question. That was the feedback I've had a couple of times. Big thanks to the team here that help support, do those audits and elements. It's hard to say no. And then they're comparing apples to oranges. That's why they come to us. So if you're a product-based company, what's unique about your product? Is it the free shipping? Is it the sustainability element of that product? Is it that it's fully made from 100% recycling material? Is it the price? Is it cheaper? Is it more affordable? Is it that you got more reviews? It's better built? Is better quality for the price that it is? What's unique about your product? Do you have a video element that showcases your product in action compared to another company that doesn't have a video and stuff like that? What is it and why? What's unique about you? Why should they buy from you? Essentially, they're the elements that you should build out in your marketing strategy. And that all comes down to branding, online exposure, awareness, messaging, tone of voice, elements like that, essentially. So start with a marketing strategy. Focus on marketing sector, your competitors, their product services, what they're doing, understand your audience, and understand your service and products and where your product and service sits against everything out there in the market. Then you need to start with your brand and online presence. So a lot of clients come up to us and say, oh, we need to start driving sales. And then I look at their website and I'm thinking, okay, before you even spend money driving traffic to your website, we need to improve your website. Now, we're not a web agency, but we do technical website audit on them to make sure from an SEO perspective, the website is technically sound. But what we find is that when we ask for brand guidelines, they don't have any. Get a brand guideline set done. Understand your logo, the colors, and what it is, what your tone of voice should be, what your lettering should be, what your characters and text and the font should be, etc. What is your USP? Like, it's Bobble Digital, award-winning agency and leader in agile digital marketing agency. That's what we brand ourselves as. That's our unique element. So, you got to focus on your brand. Have a good, strong logo that's identified, that makes sense in line with what you offer as a product or service. And then you need to make sure you have a strong online presence. Now, an online presence doesn't have to be a website. You could just trade through social media pages and build your presence from that. However, in the current day and age, you need a mobile-first website. And what we find is a lot of people, cost becomes an issue for a startup, and they do a basic website, which is fine and understandable. And it's all about getting revenue in and building things up, and certain things get neglected. And then they try to understand, well, why is our website not converting? Well, because you never paid enough time and attention to it. And I understand Rome wasn't built in a day. Like, the company's not going to get to where it needs to be, but you need to have a good foundation to build from, regardless. Build your foundation strong, and you'll be able to build an empire above it. It comes down to understanding, like, does the website detail your products or services in enough information for them to get? Is it designed? Is the user experience of that website really, really good? If you're a service or a B2B or informational based website, do you have the right information on there? Is it structured well? Is it easy for them to get from one page to another page? Is it accessible on mobile very, very quickly? Now, these things don't cost a fortune to do. Unless you're going to launch, I don't know, 500 to 1,000 product e-commerce website, then yes, you're going to need a hefty budget. But if you're just going to launch a informational based website, it's not going to take you as much money to get that website built in the grand scheme of things. So there's a lot of providers out there. There's a lot of freelancers out there. There's a lot of companies that help small startup businesses out there. One person I'm actually going to tag in, he probably doesn't even know that, and I even think about it right now, is Sam Hollis Website Design. He charges, I think, around about £50 a month for a 5-page website, and you pay monthly. So if you tell me you can't afford a basic website, if you're offering, let's say you're a therapist and you're going to launch your own, consultancy, and you need a basic website, you're probably looking at £100 a month, and you can split it over monthly, and you're tied into at least 12 months to cover the actual cost of the website. So as an individual, as a freelancer or a consultant, there's people out there that offer the services you want. But remember, you get what you pay for. At the end of the day, other clients come up to us, or prospects come up to us, and say clients say, oh yeah, but the other agency is offering to at this price. At which point I turn around and say, well, go to them then. Why are you asking me? I'm not going to match that price. There's nothing on my website that says price match guarantee. We're not that type of agency. It's like, no, you get what you pay for, because we're diligent in terms of our processes and what we offer. So your online presence is really, really important. So start off with a marketing strategy. Without that, you can't plan and know what you're doing. Make sure you start with your brand and online presence. And then, I guess the real element, the person who asked this question, what aspects of marketing should you prioritize? I guess you want to know, which channel do I focus my spend on? And you need to do the first two elements I talked about first before you even do any of that, because then you can lead a horse to water, but it's up to the horse to drink. And if the water's muddy and dirty, the horse isn't going to drink it. And that's what I mean by your website and your strategy, understanding what it is, at the end of the day, because it's going to then start searching for other rivers and pools to kind of like drink from. It's probably a wider analogy, but hopefully it makes sense. The idea is that you should I never tell a client to spend money on paid media if I think the website is, to put it politely, and we know that by doing a technical audit on the website, understanding that, basically what's the core web vitals of that website? Is the mobile web like in the red? Because if it's taking 15 seconds for the mobile web version of that site to load, what's the point spending £2,000-3,000 a month on social media advertising for someone to get to your website and your bounce rate to be above 90%? The amount of potential customers you've potentially lost already is unbelievable. So build your foundation strong. There's 3 key channels, and ironically, they focus on 3 key channels we offer at Bobble, but it's why when it came back to post-pandemic, I kind of streamlined the business to focus on 6 key services, 2 which are complementary, by the way, and I'm only going to mention 3 of them here, and the best platforms to focus on are search engine optimization, so SEO, PPC, pay-per-click, and paid social. Now, paid social is probably the easiest one to get traction with, as opposed to any other platform out there. If you're a B2B business and you just want leads and referrals, you can go on LinkedIn and Meta and you can do lead gen campaigns. So if your website isn't that great, you can still capture data from people and potential customers and get that put into your CRM system automatically. So when someone clicks on the ad, instead of going to a website, it's a pre-filled form, pulls in the information from LinkedIn or Facebook, and they complete the rest of the questions on there, submit their details, and then the sales team gets the email. This is the person looking for these services. This is their contact details. Pick up the phone. Hi, you just completed a form on social media requesting these services. How can I help? So it's almost like a hot lead, essentially, because it's pre-date. People are telling you they're happy to be contacted. Now, on Facebook, I always say out of 10 leads, 3 to 4 are good, maybe 1 to 2 convert. You are going to find about a good 50% of them to be, oh, I forgot, I didn't realize I clicked that submit button, which is really impossible because there's like 3 steps. So they either did or regret doing it or didn't expect you to call them. But, that's like a simple, quick tool that you can prioritize if you're B2B. If you're an e-commerce, Google. You need to do what is now Performance Max campaigns, because Smart Shopping campaigns is what was really good. You need to start creating Performance Max campaigns on Google. So if you're e-commerce clients and you want sales very, very quickly, get yourself a Google ad account set up and start running Performance Max campaigns. That's the element that's really, really going to help. That's going to drive actual revenue and sales and awareness across all of Google's platforms, from display, YouTube, search network, etc. That's going to work for you. So they're the 2 elements from a paid perspective I would prioritize, which is what the question was. But if you want my actual opinion, everyone neglects search engine optimization. And it's the most fundamental element. So to me, I prioritize our SEO. The only money we spend on Google is to protect our brand, because we have done that well with our SEO strategy that if you type in PPC agency leads, we're in the top 3 of Google. And that comes down to time, dedication, and it doesn't happen overnight. And I understand when you're a startup, you need results quick, you need that revenue quick, you need to be able to grow. You might be looking for investors to come on board, you might need seed funding and elements like that. So you need to show growth and elements of growth, and it doesn't happen easily. But the most important element, which comes to supporting your brand and your online presence, is search engine optimization, which costs more, but in the longer run is worth more. Because you need a strong, sustainable level of organic traffic to your website. I've gone and I've had clients come to me where like 70-80% of their traffic is from paid platforms. What if you can't run any ads on Google? Then what are you going to do? What if Facebook comes up with a new update that updates its privacy policy or product policies or policies with advertising that now says that your product, to promote your product, you have to follow certain guidelines that you don't have in place? For example, Google updated their financial verification submissions. So basically, if you're targeting words around, and this impacts a lot of e-commerce clients, impacted them all. If you're offering things on finance, buy now, pay later, Klarna, all these kind of elements, you put that in your ad, in your text ad on Google, and the product will be on there. And Google will look at the page on your website to see if you offer that. And then it's going to say, well, are you FCA regulated to offer finance? You have to complete the form, or you have to provide evidence of why not. And there's been clients that have been impacted by that. There have been businesses out there that have been impacted by that. And that's what I mean. You can't hedge your bets all on paid social, which is why SEO is probably the most important platform, because it's organic traffic. It's people searching for your product and services and you appearing at the top of Google for those products and services that they're looking for. And yes, you have to investment into getting that done, granted, but the long-term value, the intrinsic value too, is unbelievable. So yes, they're the 3 key channels: SEO, PPC, paid social. I guess from my perspective is, if it was me, I'd focus on SEO. If you're e-commerce, focus on Performance Max campaigns, because that's going to get you the best reach and performance short term. If you're B2B, then I'd be focusing more attention on tactics like on LinkedIn, like lead gen, in-mail, and again, lead gen campaigns on social media. But again, it really depends on, I wish the question came with, I'm setting a company in this industry, in this sector, I might have been able to tailor it. a bit more, but they're the elements I would do. And the final thing you should prioritize, and it's hard when you're setting up a business, is you want to put as much time into delivering the business and services with the few clients or for the few products you're delivering. And it comes down to the fact that actually your network is your net worth. And that quote was given to me earlier today by Josh, our videographer, who's behind the camera. And it's great because sometimes I say myself, it's not what you know, it's who you know. It's getting in the room with the right people. Now, over time, in 5 years of running Bobble Digital, I've been able to get myself into the right rooms occasionally, get to know the right people who know clients and services, building a reputation and rapport with them, not just for free, giving them value for something so that when they think of it, they come up to us. It's the same with, we might deal with the marketing managers and marketing directors of our clients, but I make a conscious effort to get to know my owners of those businesses, those owners of those businesses, to understand, right, who is it? Because they're the ones that are going to refer us. When someone goes to me, well, what are you doing to promote yourselves? Or we use X company for it. And this happened with our client Mayfair Worktops, who just introduces to a leading security CCTV firm, saying, I'd started working with Bobble 3 months ago. They've absolutely delivered on what we needed to. And I got an email, and on the actual bi-weekly call, he was like, Manni, by the way, I'm going to introduce you to so-and-so who's in the same position I was 3 months ago and could do with the help. And obviously you guys delivered for us. I've showed him the work we've done, and he's interested in having a chat to see if you guys can help turn things around. Sometimes that's the owner of the company, not the marketing manager of the company, coming up to me, and that's what I spend a lot of my time on, building those relationships up. We have an event, and I'm going to do another shout out to someone. Probably the first time I've done shout out to someone. Is Graham Shires of the Business Catalyst Club. Probably one of the best networking events I've ever attended in Leeds, because in that room is just MDs, CEOs, owners from all walks of life in the room, and there's about 150 of them. And the event happens 4 times a year, and you get put on a random table with a number. You have lunch, drinks, there's talks, there's people there looking for investment into businesses, there's people out there promoting themselves, there's news and updates shared from people in the room, whether you're a member, and it's really, really great. You get to meet like-minded individuals, you get to build a rapport, and everybody knows what you're doing, and you only build that rapport, when we go back to your network is your net worth, by spending time out there networking. I think a lot of the time I spent, and I'll be honest with you, I went to the wrong networking events. I went to stuff like 4N, I went to stuff like BNI, and BNI it's like Marmite, you either love it or hate it, and it works for you, it doesn't work for you. But I couldn't do the 6 a.m. starts in the morning, giving 2 leads to somebody else when I was trying to go out there and find leads for myself. Again, you got to find what works for you, but there are events, stuff like Eventbrite, go and stuff like that, have a look on LinkedIn, see what's going on, stuff in the sectors that maybe they're the clients you're trying to poach. So I try to attend digital events and showcases that are around digital tech companies, and I go there for the purpose to see what companies are there, and I profile them, and then we put a strategy together, and I build relationships with people that stand and say, why they ask me why I'm here, so I'm just trying to see what companies are in these sectors, because these are the clients we want to be working with. So again, costs you nothing to do that. A little bit of extra advice in terms of what to do. So just to summarize, your strategy, your brand and online presence, focus on, I'd prioritize SEO, but I understand there's a cost to that. B2B, focus on maybe lead gen. E-commerce, focus on performance max campaigns. And don't forget to network and get yourself out there and start building relationship with real people online, through Zoom and face-to-face. Hopefully that's helped answer the question, from someone. And if you're a startup, you found value in that and understand what to do. But there's a bit of a roadmap for you to start from A to B. And I guarantee if you follow that and do more research and in-depth elements into that, you will be successful as a business. As always, thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell notification. Thank you for listening to this episode. We'll see you next Tuesday for episode 16.